Hello champions, hello everyone from United States, St. Louis, capital of chess in the USA. So, I played the first round after 3 years and unfortunately I lost. But okay, I already took my cold shower, I had my cool ice cream, so everything is fine. I will record here and comment my thoughts, what I was thinking during the first round. So everything started much before the game. Here I was not sure where to go, e4, d4, knight f3, c4. So at the end I decided to go knight f3, so just to play chess. Knight f6, g3 and b6. There is this move in the theory, bishop g2, bishop b7, short castle, g6, d4, bishop g7, c4, short castle. So black developed two fianchetto bishops, but white got here center. And here I was thinking around 5-6 minutes, I think I thought as minimum. I forgot the theory, and before I knew, but I didn't know how developed it during many years, and so I started to think logical. The first logical moves it's knight c3 to develop the knight, but after knight c3 your black could play knight e4 and change these knights, which I didn't want to do. Why I didn't want to do this? Because here is bishop on g7 and knight on f6, this I call TB concept. Bishop on g7 is doing a good job, so okay, usually he's doing good job, yeah, but here knight f6 is closing his vision. So bishop g7 cannot look what is happening here when the knight on f6 is closing here. But at the same time, knight on f6 is saying bishop on g7, I am fighting for this important e4 square. Shut up. So these two pieces are always fighting each other. So after knight c3, I'm allowing to my opponent to play knight e4 and change these knights, opening bishop on g7. So after I change these knights, after knight e4, bishop e4, someone black will play c5, knight c6. One bishop is doing great job in this diagonal, another bishop doing great in this diagonal. So I thought black is more or less okay. And I choose here most principal move, d5. This is dangerous. We should always be very careful when we are advancing our pawns, because this can be weaknesses for us. But at the same time, what I am doing, I am limiting a lot bishop on b7, so I'm closing him just, and also I'm limiting knight on b8, so he cannot be developed on c6. And if my opponent allow, I will play knight c3, e4, have a very strong center and a great position. After d5, he played e6, knight c3, d5, cd5, and rook e8. Let's see what happened. So there is one half open line, e, which belongs to black. This rook on e8 is doing good job, but here black already has their first weakness, c7. This is especially will be weak if black someone played d6, and c7 will be even weaker. All the time I have ideas, bishop f4, rook c1, so my opponent rook on e8 is doing a great job on my e2 pawn, and my rook on c1 will do a great job on c7 pawn, and immediately I develop my bishop f4 and rook c1 I am preparing. Here I played knight a6, rook c1, and c6 he played. Trying to do something with my very strong pawn on d5 and to open the bishop on b7. Because he played knight a6, knight c5 was his idea, but with rook c1 I didn't allow him. After rook c1 here, if he played knight c5, I play b4. And after knight e4, this c7 pawn is having problems because my rook on c1 and bishop on f4 is attacking him. I can either take knight e4 and then take bishop c7, or I can take bishop c7 immediately. Queen c7, knight e4. So I took back, and he cannot take my knight because queen on c7 is hanging. That's why after rook c1 he played c6. Here I thought a lot, I had lots of choices. I could go dc6, dc6, knight d4. I was calculating some lines, dc6, knight e5. So now c6 is hanging. And he cannot protect like queen c7 or queen c8 because my rook on c1 is doing a super job. I will play just knight b5 and then c6 will hang. Also after rook c8 I had knight b5. Here I am using this pin, bishop on b7, and now c6 is hanging and a7 is hanging and he has problems. But unfortunately for me, after knight e5 he could play queen d1, rook d1, and here my knight on e5 is having problems because just my bishop on f4 is protecting him. He just plays g5 and I am losing a piece. So I decided not to go there. it's not good to lose a piece. Also, after c6, I was calculating knight e5. Well, after a long calculation, I decided here to play interesting move, a3. Just sacrifice the d5 pawn and play against a6 knight. Opponent took knight d5. This is better for him than c d5 because we already mentioned it. With knight d5, he is changing this knight and opening his bishop on g7, which is starting to play. So knight d5, c d5, and b4. What happened? I sacrificed a pawn. Our opponent has here pawn on d5, or d7. One of these pawn is extra, but they are very weak. Both are very weak. And as a compensation, I got my opponent's very bad knight on a6 and a very bad bishop on b7. And in future, if my knight moves and I take bishop on this with bishop, I take the d5 pawn, I will have a wonderful position because my opponent will have pawns will be equal, but my opponent will have this d7 weak pawn. And here opponent played d6. This is a cool move. He is trying to play knight c7, knight e6, as right now it's impossible because my rook and bishop is looking to that square. He played here d6 and preparing knight c7, knight e6. A very good move. And here I thought again a lot, couldn't find what is the best. I played queen d2. Looking back, maybe the move I wanted to play was the best. I wanted to play at first bishop h3. This looks natural and unnatural same time because I'm moving my bishop from this diagonal. What does it mean? It means anytime black can play somewhere d4 ups, d4 sacrifices pawn, and I may have some problems because of this bad bishop, which after d4 will become very strong bishop. But at the same time, bishop h3 is logical because he is controlling a c8 square, not allowing rook c8 move, but more importantly, not allowing queen d7 move. So if my opponent plays knight c7, I will go bishop g5. So now he cannot play queen d7. And if you play f6, it's very good for me because bishop on g7 will be closed. But I decided, okay, let's play in logical, natural move, queen d2. I'm not sure if I did rises. Queen d2, knight c7. Rook fd1 I played. Rook fd1, and here after knight e6, here I figured out that my compensation is maybe it's okay for equal position, but not much. The thing here is when I play bishop e3. Okay, I played bishop a6. I will explain there. We had the same position. Bishop a6, bishop f6, bishop e3. Why I included this move? I felt that in future maybe I will play h4, knight h2, attacking the d5 pawn. And then when my opponent bishop is on f6, I will have some knight g4 tempo. And after bishop h6, if he played bishop h8, here I had some interesting tactics I didn't check yet with engines. I was calculating something like knight g5, opening this bishop. Now I'm attacking the d5 pawn. And if knight d4, here was my worries. Knight d4, now e2 pawn is hanging, and knight b3 is coming, so my queen and rook on c1 will hang. But here after e3, knight b3, I have here a wonderful move, bishop d5. And if we take here knight d2, it will be bishop f7 checkmate. Okay, bishop f6, bishop f6 he played, bishop e3. So what's the problem? In the game he played rook c8. Let's say he plays queen d7. Well, I have here, opponent has here very weak pawns, but how to attack it? Now I have the TV problem. My bishop g2 and knight on f3, they are fighting with each other. Bishop on g2 is saying to the knight, hey knight, if you were not, I would just take this d5 pawn. And at the same time, knight is telling, shut up, if I was not there, opponent will just play d4 and with all our army we would go home. So this piece is, it would be dream for me to change these two knights, but I cannot it. Because if I play here some knight d4, first of all, I'm not threatening anything, because after knight e6, he will take, let's say, okay, play not f5. Let me put some rook ac8, because if a5, b6 would hang. He will take fe6. I mean, if a5, this b6 will hang. So the problem is this, knight d6, he take fe6. So with knight d4, I'm not threatening anything. But there is additional problem, is my e2 pawn. He will just take knight d4, bishop d4, take this, and take e2 pawn. and I should take bishop d5 and fight for draw. Maybe it's draw, but I didn't want it. I wanted to continue the fight. So after bishop e3, queen d7, it was very unclear for me how to go. Also, additionally, he's threatening queen a4, very unpleasant move, and unclear how to protect the a3 pawn. Bishop on f6, you see, is doing a great job. There is not knight, which would limit the bishop on g7, and queen a4. So bishop is controlling here lots of squares, and very tough for me to protect the a3 pawn. After queen a4, if I protect queen d3, then bishop a6 is coming. After queen a4, if I go queen a2, then maybe a5 even opponent can play and try to use these pins. But okay, he played rook c8. He decided to change one pair of rooks, take, and I got my plan. h4, this is very useful move for me, because this will give me someone to play h5, h6 option. So opponent king on g8 will have some problems with back rank. You will see, I need it a lot. Some moment I can take hg6, because if some moment I played hg6 and play knight d4, knight e6, after fe6, yeah, g6 pawn already will fall, because there is not h7 pawn. And the third is somewhere I will have knight h2, knight g4. He played queen d7, and now I realized if I played h5, he can just take it. Looks very ugly. He has very bad pawns in the center, another very bad pawns in the king side. But okay, what to do? Because now my bishop on g2 is not, it's normal bishop, but it's not good, because he's limiting with my knight on f3. And if I move this knight on f3, opponent will play just h4, so I cannot also touch knight on f3. And here I realize that I cannot touch any of the piece. If I move this bishop, opponent will play d4. If I move the rook, again d4 may possible. So I decided, okay, I will postpone the h5, and I played queen d3. Useful move, so if opponent play queen a4, a3 pawn, my queen is protecting. Queen d3, I also am preparing rook d2, knight d4, or bishop d4, so e2 pawn is protected, because I could not play here. Let's say knight d4, he would just take, and take e2. Why I said h4 pawn was important, so for example, if the pawn was on h5, I could play here h6, and threatening queen g7, checkmate, and if rook e5, then f4, asking this rook on e5 to move, and then checkmate him. Well, but I could not do that. Unfortunately, my pawn is not on h5, and I cannot go h5, because he will just take this pawn. So queen d3, rook c8. Now, okay, I played here bishop d4. Bishop d4, because with knight d4 there is no next move. He will just play rook c4, attacking my knight on d4. And if I take, he will take fe6 back. Now his pawn structure is not bad. So bishop d4 I played, finally trying to change this bishop, this very strong bishop. Also with rook c8 he is threatening some rook c3 moves. And with my bishop d4 move, knight d4, finally my bishop on g2 started to breathe a bit. And if somehow I move my knight on d4 and take this d5 pawn, I will have great position, but it's not so easy. By the way, I forgot to show you where I could play much better to not have these problems. After I played a3, knight d5, take b4, right? d6, queen d2. Okay, this will be advanced, but I could play here bishop e3, immediately bishop e3, and after knight d6 I can play here knight e1, using the moment that my opponent queen is not on d7, so bishop on b7 is not protected, and he cannot play d4. I will take bishop b7. So this was my moment to open this bishop on g2. But I missed it with normal simple move rook fd1, which looks very cool, logical move, but in real it's very bad, because now after knight d6 bishop e3 he plays queen d7, and I cannot anymore move my knight on e1 because of d4, and queen on d7 protects the b7 bishop. Okay, let's go to game. Okay, h4, queen d7, queen d3, rook c8, bishop d4. He took and played queen a4. Very interesting. Now I'm having already problems. Queen d4. Now he's threatening lots of things. First of all, some moment he wants to change my knight, and after queen d4, a3 pawn will fall. Also here he had one threat which I didn't notice somehow. Well, I was thinking here about to play e3, and so opponent has two ideas with queen a4, first is bishop d4, and then queen d4, queen a3, and also bishop a6. I was thinking here, and then I said, why I'm playing e3? Let's go immediately h5. Because after h5, if some moment it takes, then after queen a3 I will have this h6 move, a very unpleasant move for opponent. I want queen g7 checkmate. So I decided, okay, h5 should be more useful than e3, and I go h5. I went h5, and from my opponent's face, in 1 second I saw what I blundered. You can pause the video and try to find what I blundered during the game. Okay, yeah, I blundered rook c3 move. Absolutely, I forgot about it. That queen on a4, it's also now attacking my d1 rook. And if I take here after queen d1, I am also, with check, losing the knight on d4. So after rook c3, I've realized that, okay, if the game continues like this, I will just lose it. And it's time to dramatically, cardinally to change the route of the game. This is very practically, like you can never do it with engines, but psychologically, practically, it's very good. Yeah. So now you will see what's happened. I played queen d2, rook a3, and did a moves. It was very strange for my opponent. King h2. This is multifunctional move. First of all, after I move my queen somewhere, queen d1 will not be with check. My king is on h2. Also, some moment I may play somewhere rook h1, queen h6, and try to checkmate my opponent with h line. So king h2, rook a2 was played, and queen f4. Now if he takes queen d1, queen f6. Queen f6 here, I want to play h6. If he takes gh5, then knight f5, and the king is getting checkmate because opponent's pieces are far from their king. After queen f4, so I played bishop e5, and here queen h4. Like I don't care about the d1 rook, because after queen d1 I have here draw. I have knight f5 check, take, queen g5 check, and then queen d8, queen g5 perpetual checks. So after queen h4, now I am threatening lots of things. Queen d8, I am threatening, h6 I am threatening, and he played queen e8 back. Well, now I am 2 pawns down, but this I can count half pawn, and here if I put my pawn on b5, this I can also count a half pawn. But my opponent's very bad bishop on b7, I can count around 1 pawn to me, so the position was already around equal. My opponent did mistake with rook a2 move. I'll show that moment. Here I should play rook a1 to change the rooks, not rook a2. He missed queen f4 rook sacrifice. And after queen 8, here I am fine. I played bishop f3, forever protecting the e2 pawn, and somewhere maybe king g2, rook h1. But also very cool was rook c1 move. Rook c1, I'm entering rook c7, and the opponent king on g8 may have some problems. Also bishop on b7, because if bishop moves somewhere, then bishop d5 will finish the game. f7 is very weak. The problem of the black is that rook on a2 and bishop on b7 is much far from the king on g8. I played bishop f3, it's okay. Played rook b2, b5, rook b4. Now opponent wants, if I play king g2, he wants to change everything and play queen e5. He has 2 pawns up. Not easy will be for him to win the position with his very bad bishop on b7, but here I would fight for a draw, but I didn't want it. And after rook b4, I played here e3. The idea, if bishop d4, I will play e d4, and opponent's dark square are very weak, so I'm threatening lots of things, queen f6, h6, or after h6 I will threaten also rook e1 move. And he cannot take queen e1 because of queen d8 checkmate, so this position would be dangerous for my opponent. He played rook b2, attacking the f2 pawn. I played king g2, bishop g7, and here I just played rook c1, thinking, okay, rook c1, rook c7, I'm taking the initiative. Okay, now it's my turn to put pressure. Yeah, all bad is gone. And again, from his face, I realized what I blundered, what I did. You can again pause the video and see what very bad blunder I did. Okay, so after rook c1 he took queen e3. I forgot that there is a pin, and with his last move bishop g7 he has a threat. After bishop g7 here he already wanted to take queen e3, which unfortunately I didn't notice it. If I played here king g1 and then next move rook c1 rook c7, suddenly my position is much better, especially when we were both in such a big time trouble. It would be very difficult for my opponent to play this position. Engine is showing just only moves for my opponent to not lose the game immediately. But anyway, white I would be much better. But I didn't notice it and play rook c1. And after queen e3 I'm lost. Queen e3, now c1 is hanging, f2 is hanging, all is hanging. So I can resign here already. But you know me, I never resign till everything is gone, and I fought till my last chance. I played rook c2. Rook c2, he cannot take bishop d4, because after bishop d4 I will take rook b2, and then if he takes, then queen is hanging. And after rook c2, if he takes queen d4, yeah, queen d4, here was my idea. I had queen d8 check, bishop f8, take, and now bishop on b7 is trapped. I play queen b8, queen d7, then take this b7 bishop, then d5 pawn, f7 is hanging, so it would be fine for me. But after rook c2, it took rook c2. Now if I take knight c2, it will be g5, and I don't have any more queen d8 check. So after rook c2, I played queen d8 check first, bishop f8, knight c2. But it's already 3 pawns. I'm 3 pawns down. Queen c5, hg6, hg6. So here I was calling like right move, Billy. Keep, don't lose it. Like also SLP, save lost position topic. Yeah, and here I found the interesting move, knight d4, interesting resource. Knight d4, the idea is if you take again queen d7 or queen b8, then I will try to take this, I will take this b7 bishop, and then I will try to take d5 and attack f7 pawn. It will be the opposite color bishops, lots of chances for draw. Queen d8, bishop f8, okay, take, knight d4. Also, yeah, with hg6 he cannot take here queen c2. I will just play as minimum queen d7, attacking b7 and f7 pawn with queen h7 checkmate. Hg6, he played hg6, knight d4 with hope queen d4, queen d7, but he just played queen c8. Now it's finished. I'm 3 pawns down. If I take queen c8, bishop c8, I will take 1 pawn back, but 2 pawn down. He has also 2 bishop advantage. No way. So I decided to go again practically. Queen g5. Keeping the queens, a6. I'm 3 pawn down. I don't want to take the pawn because it will be okay. I can take and take. It will be, but still 2 pawn down I am. So a6. I decided to go knight c6. Again, hoping if you take this pawn, I will take the 3rd pawn. But then after queen moves, I will take also g6 because of this pin. But he didn't blunder it. He played a b5 and knight d8. This was my hope. Then to try to take b7 and then d5. And maybe somewhere I will have some chances for draw. But I again missed bishop a8 move. And now I'm 4 pawn down. Also my knight on d8 is trapped. Next move he just play queen d7, queen e7, and I cannot do anything. Again, before resigning, I took my last shot. I give the last sacrifices. Bishop g4, attacking opponent queen, trying to go bishop e6 or bishop f5, sacrifice the bishop, open the king on g8, maybe perpetual check. But the bishop g4 problem is d4 check. Now this very bad bishop on a8 suddenly became strong. King h2, I cannot go king g1. Okay, I can, but then after king g1 I should be very careful all the time. If I move the queen on g5, I will have queen c1, queen h1 checkmate. So after d4, king h2, queen c7 and bishop e6 last shot. Trying to open my opponent king after f6, queen g6 check. So now he play king h8, knight f7 I have. But after queen g6 he found a very easy and nice defense. Queen g7, queen e6 check, king h7. Queen f5 check, but now queen g6. my check finished. If queen h3, I play queen h6, changing the queens. And I took queen f8, but then queen h5 check, and I resigned here because after king g1, queen h1, I am getting a checkmate. So I did two very bad blunders. First one was this: I played h5, he played rook c3, and this was still I was not losing it yet. But then the horrible blunder was rook c1 move. Rook c1 and after queen e3. Okay, now it's really lost. Well, anytime I lose or my students lose, I say one thing. What is your takeaway? What did you learn? Because anytime there is not really such thing as failure. Yeah, we win or we learn. Yeah. So takeaway of this game. Let's say I'm a professional player. Yeah, what I would take. First thing. It's very easy to blunder something when it's going long strategical game, and one moment is coming some tactic, because if all the game it was very complicated position, a dynamic game, yeah, attacking, then okay, your mind is focused on tactics. But when it's coming some strategical game, sacrificing positional pawn and so on, somehow your brain is stopping to think about tactics. This was the first takeaway which I would take. Second, I would say, if I was professional chess player, I would say I didn't prepare for the tournament well, because I missed two very easy tactics. Well, it's not excuse for me, but I'm not professional, so I'm coach. I had no time. I was working with ChessMood, with courses, with my students, so I had no time for prepare for myself this tournament. I came here just for having fun, and it's okay for me. But why I'm saying this all stuff? Because what I see all the time, lots of even professional chess players, grandmasters, as they are losing a game, and they are saying, I blundered and I lost, so and they go. So they are not looking at their mistakes. And then they lose and they didn't learn anything. So if you from any defeat, anytime you lose, you think really about what you did bad, you will improve. So do this job. 90% really of if they have this game, they would say I just blundered, I played bad, I lost, yeah. But there was a few mistakes. It was not just simple blunders. It was because of what was at blunders. So it was my mistake, and I take responsibility for it. Well, it's already late. I will go to sleep, and tomorrow is the second round, so I will try to come back. I'll do all my best. Hope I will do that. And it was already half hour, yeah. I hope you loved it and you took lots of useful things, tips. Especially the important part here was the last few minutes. To always take responsibility of your mistake, not just say I blundered, I did this, I had a deck, the light of the room was bad, the arbiter was yelling on someone, and because of him might make that blunder. Now always take responsibility and think what you can do, what action you can make, so next time you don't make the same blunder. So after tomorrow's game, I will again comment my second game. Hope it will next time I will win. Jemavdik was with you. See you guys. Keep the right mood, whatever happens, and separate chess and in your life. You lost, okay. It doesn't mean all your evening or next 2 days it will be bad. Yeah, you lost. Take a cold shower, eat ice cream. So forget about chess. Go and have some fun or spend time with your friends. Ciao. See you tomorrow.